Hello everyone, this is going to be a quick tutorial on how to calculate a rolling sum or different aggregation function like average over your data set. So rolling sums basically differ from regular sums in the sense that they maintain the number of records in your data. So what I'll be using here is this generic user sales data that I put together. It's sitting in MySQL right now, but also show how to do these calculations in Psql. So essentially what my first task here is to calculate a rolling sum from row 1 to row 18 and aggregate the user values. So I'll start that by first selecting ID, which will be my ordering column. Okay, ID, and I want user values. So I'm going to have user values, and then I'll just to compare, and I'll also include user values in the sum function, and I'll use this over function, which is a window function. MySQL has some helpful documentation on how to use over and how to also use these to calculate different calculations, such as averages and counts and etc. Okay, so if I were to just leave over blank, this would essentially just give me nothing too helpful. It essentially just reverts to giving me the total sum. So I need to add order by some ordering column, and my ordering column here is just ID. So now that I have included this order, we get a cumulative sum. So the sum is constantly increasing because it's constantly aggregating user values. So the first row is just 315. But when you add the second row, 112 to 315, we get 427, and just continues that process over and over. But now let's say we want to calculate this rolling sum by user ID. So we'll select our data from user sales. Okay, now I want to order by user ID, and let's say I also want to include dates in here to make it a little more useful. So okay, so now I have my data sorted by this user ID column as well as the dates, and again we want what we're expecting as an output is the sum of these values, but not a group by, because we want to keep each record. We're going to use something called partition by. So I'll select user ID, user values, just as a comparison column, and I'm going to sum user values over, I'm going to also include, I'm going to include partition by user ID because I want this aggregation to be user specific, and I want to order by user dates. Okay, so this first column is just that user ID, then we have our user values, but this far right column is now that aggregated data by user ID. And you can see that for user ID A, we stop at row 6. And on row 7, we start with a new set of sums for B. And it continues until we're done, and we start over for C. And so this is essentially how to do a quick cumulative sum, cumulative whatever, for partition by some certain field, and including some ordering. Now I'll show you how to do that using Psql. So I have essentially a very similar data set sitting in Psql. And what it wants, again, is to calculate a rolling sum ordered by dates. So start out by selecting user ID, sum, and I want summing over those user values over partition by user ID, order by user dates. And you can see here we're getting, this is actually slightly, I think this might be slightly different data, so let's see what the user values actually look like. Okay, so that first row is 315. So we get 315 as the cumulative sum. But then on the second row we have 324, so 324 plus 315 will equal to 639. So our query just essentially continues this ongoing calculation until it stops at row 6, and we start again at row 7 for B until we stop. On row 13 we start fresh for user ID C. And we could also include, I didn't show this previously, but we could also include different calculations such as averages, and I'll actually include one more. I'll show maybe a max. Cool. So we have our sums, a cumulative sum, our average, and a cumulative maximum over time. And so if this video was helpful, please leave a like and have a nice day.